Hey guys, how's it going? Patrick, ConservativeRap. And in this video, we're going to talk about whether or not fear can be productive. Three things specifically that every driven, fully engaged person that I know is literally afraid of, and why you may want to be too. It's interesting, in everything that's self-help oriented, personal development oriented, people are constantly dissing fear, right? All the experts, all the gurus, all the quotes, all the consultants, even myself, we talk about overcoming fear, how fear is an illusion, 10 steps for eliminating fear forever, etc., as if, it's productivity person's number one enemy. Just the other day, it occurred to me that within that field of thought, many of us never think about how we can use fear in our own favor, right? That there can be many ways in which fear actually makes us more driven, more ambitious, more creative, more efficient, without us even being aware of the fact, like at the time that it's working. So here are four instances that I thought of where being afraid of something ultimately led the person I knew to be more productive and successful than they otherwise would become, at least from my limited perspective. All right, so here's productivity fear number one: ending up just like what's her face. Every productive person I know has at least someone that they work with, someone they went to school with, or someone in their family, or all three, that's the direct opposite of what they intend to aspire to or hope to become. And that person technically motivates them in reverse. There's a famous song by the rapper 50 Cent, and he says, damn, homie, in high school you were the man, homie. What the F happened to you? And literally every ambitious person I know can relate to that. Seriously, every productive, on point, self motivated individual I've ever met has someone they see, at least from time to time, that makes them virtually scared about what will happen if they don't pull up their own socks, pull up their own shoes, and they reverse engineer motivation out of that bad example. So, question for you: who's your nightmare motivator, right? Take a look at how they talk, how they carry themselves, how they think, how they behave, and just simply do the direct opposite. Productivity fear number two is being dependent. And on a deeper note, there's a lot of productive and accomplished people that are also afraid of being dependent on someone else to take care of them. If you listen closely, you hear a lot of focused people say things like, I just don't want anybody else to quote unquote control me. Now, this may sound negative, but remember that this fear usually comes from a direct experience of what being controlled, quote unquote, looks like in their direct experience, right? These people are motivated not to go back to something destructive that they're already intimately familiar with. And in my mind, I call that wisdom. I don't judge anyone, so although I may not have a direct experience of being dependent like that, I know the power of learning from other people's mistakes, and I suggest you do the same. Productivity fear number three is staying the same. So this one, I would say, applies to me most of all. Productive people are afraid of staying the same. They say to themselves, I just don't want to look down the road and, after 10 years still be, making tacos and playing Street Fighter with Norbert and Winston in my basement. When I was in high school, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life going to parties and chasing girls, right? That felt pointless. When I was in college, I didn't want to spend the rest of my life going to activist meetings and organizing protests. I used to be a huge leftist, actually, but ultimately it didn't speak to me because it began to feel futile and victimizing. When I first started writing, I didn't want to be a starving artist, a broke writer, and so I started working. And now I'm working. I don't always want to be, again, answering to somebody, right? Or having the barometer of my success set by another party or contingent to, what an organization will allow. So maybe it always just boils down to being fear, like a fear of being trapped, right? Always wanting to have new talents and skills, wanting to travel and see the world, not just live and die in a specific place. All I can say, and maybe you feel the same way, is that once I begin to master something, I get scared that the mastery will become the circumference of my life experience. And so I start channeling my energies in a new direction. So take a second to think about all this, right? Even on a grand scale, right? We have founding fathers who wrote a constitution to enshrine rights inherent to the person because they feared tyranny, right? Because government has an inherent tyrannical bent towards oppression. People have galvanized behind Trump because they fear future lockdowns, forced vaccinations, future global conflict, rising international tensions, and let's not even get into the economic fears, right? That the population as a whole have, obviously taken to, which has motivated the political bent the population is coming towards. So I hope my point is clear. We think of fear as being this bad thing, but there's a certain proactive caution, if we could call it that, that different people have, like different levels of tolerance. So you may not need the same degree of a negative experience before you think and project out the trajectory, and that fear is what motivates you to take proactive action. My main point here, though, is that productive people are simply afraid of the things unproductive people are content with. I don't know if they're necessarily better or more talented, but their fears often drive that behavior towards a different path. So leave me some love in the comment section below. Which of the productive fears above resonate with you most? Are there any others that you're afraid of? Like any other things that you're afraid of that help you to stay focused? And if so, what are there? Again, Patrick, Conservative Rap. Look forward to connecting soon. Take care.